South Africa is in a transitional state. There's a revolutionary candidate, Julius Malema. Amoral Minds, I'm your host, RJ Roger, and what we're going to talk about today is Julius Malema. Julius Malema is really making a lot of powerful people in South Africa, he's making their hair stand. He's really got the powerful political party, the ANC, really worried about this guy.
Stand up, South Africa. Make sure that South Africa, you are counted with me. Rise, South Africa. Stand and make sure that our people understand that they need to be counted. You must be counted. You must be part of history. You must make sure that you are one of the people who are going to deliver economic freedom in our lifetime. Freedom in our lifetime. Amanda!
Now, a little background on Julius Malema. He's a former member of the ANC Youth League, and after he was bumping heads with the party, he left the party in 2013 and formed his own political party, the EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters. And in the beginning, this party was essentially a laughingstock to most people. People thought it was a joke. It was something that would never really come off the ground. And in just 10 short years, the party has risen to prominence and is now the third largest political party in the country. Now, the two major political positions that shot Malema into political orbit were originally offered to the ANC when Malema was still with the party. So when he broke from the party, he took these positions with him, and these positions have become debated and accepted by a large amount of the South African people. One, he supports the nationalization of the mining industry, and two, he supports land expropriation without compensation. Now, to explain Julius Malema's political positioning on the ruling party, the ANC, is very simple. His position is that the ANC is corrupt and controlled by the Oppenheimer family. Now, here are three facts that I want you to consider before I continue into this video. One, 75% of all of the wealth controlled in South Africa is owned by European colonizers. Again, that's very important to understand. 3/4 of the wealth that is owned in South Africa is owned by European colonizers. Two, the Oppenheimers are the second wealthiest family in South Africa, and for a long time, they were the wealthiest. And number three, the Oppenheimers, at their height, controlled 80% of the global diamond market. 80%. So who are the Oppenheimers and where do they come from? And how did they develop so much wealth in a country that they are not natives of? So if you go back to 1853, there was a man named Cecil Rhodes, and this man was a British colonizer that left Britain at the age of 18 for South Africa. And he was funded by the Rothschilds, and he was a lunatic that was anti-democracy and pro-imperialism, and he was a sick, demented man that was the mastermind behind apartheid, behind past laws, and he was a complete genocidal maniac that killed and displaced millions of South Africans and stole millions of miles of land. And then after there was a discovery of a mineral-rich area that was full of diamonds inside of the ground, a small town called Kimberley, and this town inside of South Africa was seized and controlled by Cecil. And Cecil then next takes political power and uses his political power to seize the voting rights of the native South Africans. And in pretty much no time, he's one of the wealthiest men in the country because he forms a company called De Beers, and this company then rose to monopolize the diamond market in the world, and he became the richest man in South Africa. Now, in a short sentence, you could define Cecil Rhodes as Adolf Hitler before Adolf Hitler because he killed millions of South Africans. And then he dies at a young age of 48 in 1902. And even when there was an autopsy performed as to what killed Cecil Rhodes, they cut him open and realized that he had no heart inside of him at all. That part's a joke, of course, but the rest of everything I just said is true. One important thing to remember about Cecil Rhodes before I continue is that he developed his wealth through murder and theft, through colonization. He became the richest man in South Africa by killing and stealing from the native people. So who are the Oppenheimers and where do they come from? Now, following the death of Cecil Rhodes, a new man steps in. His name is Ernest Oppenheimer. He is a German colonizer who was funded by J.P. Morgan, and he steps in as chairman of De Beers, okay? And he runs the company, and he's very rich, and he makes a whole bunch of money, and then he dies. And this new guy comes in named Harry Oppenheimer, and he's the son of Ernest, and then he's rich, and he controls everything in South Africa, and then he dies. And then when Harry dies, this other guy comes in, and his name is Nicky Oppenheimer, and he's the son of Harry. And today, Nicky is the third richest man in South Africa, and he's a major political funder, and he's even been known to have some suspicious connections to the ANC. And he's super rich, and his whole family's rich from trickled-down monies that came from Cecil Rhodes. So here we are today. Julius Malema, president of the Economic Freedom Fighters, and he's on the ballot running for president of South Africa. And he really just has one simple political position. Give us back our stuff. You stole it. And he is saying we are taking it back without compensation because you took it without compensation. What do you guys think? I'm RJ Roger. This is Amoral Minds. I got a great book coming out, The Don. It'll be in stores soon. Please support the book when it hits stores. Peace and love, and I'll see you next week.